OG Punk is an exhibition of 16 recent pictures by the artist-photographer Dina Goldstein. The pictures are portraits of 14 people, 2 of whom appear twice, though one portrait features 2 people, and the lone unpeopled portrait is of a black leather motorcycle jacket. On the back of it, a painted portrait of a skull and crossbones. Backgrounds for the portraits are in either black or white. All but 2 of the portraits are in color. The portraits are displayed at North Vancouver's Polygon Gallery, in an area known informally as the main floor gallery. I like this space because its south-facing wall is transparent, made of glass, through which passers-by can get a taste of what the Polygon is and does. It's a little like TV in that way, or in the way people once stopped to watch TV when they were displayed in furniture store windows. This was still common when punk first appeared in the mid to late 1970s, before larger screens were installed on downtown buildings, or the smaller screens we now carry in our pockets. It is from the main floor gallery that I am making this recording, sitting by the window dressed in a dark gray suit, in an effort to make myself incidental to those who are slowing down to take in Goldstein's model collaborators, all of whom identify as punk, almost all of whom as original or OG punks. And of course we know them as such, not only by their regalia and body modifications, leathers, metal studs, patches, tattoos, scarifications, and hairstyles, but by their ages, almost all of them born in the 1950s and 60s. When Goldstein embarked on this project, her focus was on those who were part of the early Vancouver and Victoria punk scenes. Punk emerged while I was a high school student at Kerrisdale's Point Grey Secondary, and in the spring of 1978, a group of us grade 10 students, inspired by sensational news coverage of the British punk scene, entered the school's gong show to perform a punked-up version of T-Rex's Baby Strange. This was a year before the Subhumans performed a lunch hour concert there, what amounted to my first punk rock show, though not exactly, as some have argued, because to see a punk rock show, you have to see it in its milieu, like Vancouver's Smiling Buddha Cabaret on East Hastings Street, to which I disagree, given punk's brave power to intervene and reveal, if not upend, values that the status quo assumes are universal. Apart from that gong show performance, I have never signified as punk, but I could relate to its critique, its burlesque of mainstream cultural norms. Aesthetically, because popular music had become bland, soft rock from California, metronomic disco, pretentious prog rock, or sexist racist country and western. And soon enough, politically, because those holding power maintained that power by wielding atom bombs or extracting resources without regard for those whose land they were on, to say nothing of what unsustainable extraction has done to the planet. Just as climate change is today's slow boat to extinction, the threat of nuclear proliferation in my youth meant the planet could be cancelled before I could make it home to kiss my mom goodbye. Aspects of this critique are carried in the responses to the questionnaire Goldstein distributed to her model collaborators. Not directly in the academic sense, citing Karl Marx, Hannah Arendt, or Guy Debord, but in a manner that became increasingly popular in post-war North America, through the body, the presentation of self in everyday life. The Beats and the Hippies performed their critique through styles of dress and gesture that reflected their attitude towards the status quo, and many of the punks responding to Goldstein's questionnaire seemed to recognize this through their own form of cultural self-expression. Here's how Unnatural Silence band member Miles Peterson responded to the question, has punk changed much since the 1980s? Punk isn't a thing or a fad or a movement. It's an attitude, and it's a way of life. It's always been there. It will never die. It doesn't matter how you look or what music you like. It's about not taking shit from anybody, standing up for yourself and looking after people who are less fortunate, and not buying into corporate monsters that are destroying the planet, people, culture, and everything that we care about. The reader need only substitute punk with beatnik or hippie and the comment would stand, the only difference being one of tone and intensity. Death sentence drummer Doug Donut, who is of Sioux ancestry, tells us at the outset that he was raised by activist parents, and later, to the question, is punk here to stay, he replies, counterculture is, and it sure as fuck ain't Princess of Punk Xandra Rhodes on Leno. No offense to the princess of punk, but Bad Brains is punk. NWA was punk. Public Enemy DOA, it's fuck you and 100% no kissing babies for the music biz machine. Get mad, there's neo-Nazis rolling around. And I'm going to sell perfume? Nope. Here is skater and Dayglo Abortions affiliate Lisa Jak on that same question. I think that punk has always and will always be here. Anywhere and any time that there is oppression, ignorance, intolerance, and fucking stupidity, some punk will be there to question and fight it. Goldstein gave her model collaborators little instruction on what to bring to their shoot apart from their leathers. As for poses, these too were left to the model collaborators, though it should be noted that the poses chosen for display as portraits were decided by Goldstein and exhibition curator Helga Pakasar. Strangely, none of the portraits reprise the wild-eyed, teeth-baring, nostril-flaring intensity I associate with punk's early days, nor the sneering contempt of Johnny Rotten, Billy Idol, or Lydia Lunch, not even the leave-me-alone indifference of Patti Smith or Exene Cervenka. While the portrait of music manager Wendy 13 has its subject standing chin out, hands on hips, many more appear sad, pensive, tired, humbled, tentative, or lost. The Black Halo's Billy Hopeless almost seems repentant. The most arresting portrait in the exhibition, the one that links nicely to the Stephen Scher exhibition in the upstairs gallery, is that of Murray the Cretin Acton, frontman for the Dayglo Abortions. The Cretin, who is 61, stands naked from the waist up, the buckle of his low-slung trousers appearing just below the top of his pubic bone, the deep lines of his groin capped by the arching banner of his lone tattoo, "Fuck you, pig." The Cretin's torso and arms could belong to a 30-year-old, while his weathered face and sea hag hair puts him closer to 80. As for his expression, his eyes are dead, but he is clearly looking at something, not for it. Like everyone else on the walls of this main floor gallery, Acton knows who he is, in all his contradictions. Otherwise he wouldn't be here.